I have not declined him access to his child. So, and I won't decline him access, my child to see her father.
Why so long for the in-person visits?
Because her mama doesn't allow me to.
Okay.
I've made numerous attempts. Every time she says yes, she's going to allow me to come get her. And then for whatever reason, she has amnesia after that.
What happened to precipitate the breakup?
Her cousin shot me. It was believed that her and her family paid for that to be done. And she just disappeared off the face of the earth while I was fighting for my life.
Between extracurricular activities and daycare in Houston, you pay $14.89 or so a month for activities in Houston.
Correct. And that's something I won't do, because then that's saying when it's his turn, I have to meet him there.
Ms. McDavid, calm down. First off, don't tell me what you will not do. All right?
Okay.
Not a good idea. All right?
Now, how will we be able to track that?
We don't, ma'am.
Sure.
Mom and Dad broke up because Mom's cousin shot Dad, and it is believed her family paid for that to be done.
Non-custodial party, Shamir Urson. Custodial party, Aricia McDavid.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stratos Apostolo with the Attorney General's Office, Child Support Division. Your Honor, it's the state's position that this case is probably well served with a temporary order. After speaking to the parties, there's actual documentation about what kind of health insurance plan and what the breakdowns would be that aren't available today. I'm trying to determine dental insurance breakdowns and the actual prorated breakdown for Dad, and I think Mom also has insurance. So I'd like to see all that documentation next time we come back. Retroactive support is going to be a contested issue, and my understanding is Dad may have Zelle, Cash App, documents, but not here again today. So that would be another reason to allow the parties time to bring in their evidence. We are requesting temporary child support today at the very least. As you know, we don't have a position on the possession and access, but maybe a temporary order serves these parties well as also. Of course, Ms. Farrer can speak on this, but I think there's a distance issue between these two parties as well. And there may be some disconnect on what the parties want right now under a temporary order for possession and access. And I also feel like there isn't an agreement as to temporary current child support either. So those are the issues before you today, Your Honor.
The other issue with regard to the visitation is that there are two cases that were, as of this morning, pending in a Louisiana court, in the 29th District Court there in Louisiana in St. Charles Parish with regard to Mr. Urson. Mr. Urson has indicated that those cases were dismissed. However, because court was this morning, I have no documentation as to that. And so depending on the disposition of those cases, that may influence the long-term visitation schedule and the presumptions of the court. So I believe that my recommendation is going to be to start off with a supervised visitations for Mr. Urson, but eventually working towards standard possession at final hearing.
Do both of you solemnly swear or affirm your testimony you're going to give here today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth shall help you?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Urson, the state calls Mr. Urson. Mr. Urson, can you state your name for the record again, please, sir?
Jamar Urson.
Mr. Urson, you have two jobs, correct? A part-time and then not a full-time, but one that's close to full-time hours, right?
I have two part-time jobs.
Can you tell me how many hours you work a week and how much you get paid an hour on the job that gives you the most hours?
The job that gives me the most hours, I have the job that gives me the most hours pays me $15 an hour, and my hours I've worked at that job, 313 to 319. I worked 32 hours. The week prior, I worked 27. The week prior to that, I worked 19. So that puts me into February. So I'm guessing I average about between 27 and 30 hours a week.
Is there a reason why they're not giving you full-time hours?
Because I'm a part-time employee there.
Okay. Have you ever thought about going full-time?
I'm also I'm applying to veterinarian school, so I'm only able to work part-time.
Gotcha. Okay. And the other job that gives you the less hours per week, how many hours a week and how much you get paid an hour on that one?
Approximately 6. And I think it's right about $13 to $14 an hour.
Do you have health insurance for Harley, the child in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Is it through that one job that gives you the most hours?
Correct.
Okay. And how often do you get paid from that job?
Every 2 weeks.
Okay. How much is taken out of your paycheck for health insurance coverage?
I believe I told you 268, something like that.
Okay. And who is on that plan besides Harley?
Myself.
Okay. Do you know if you're free or not?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But you could get that documentation by the next court date, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know if that amount that's being taken out is dental also for sure, or would you need to see documents?
I would need to see document, but I believe it is.
Okay. Is vision in there too, or do you need to see
No,
documents?
sir. No, vision is not.
Any other sources of income besides the 2 part-time jobs you testified to, Mr. Urson?
No, sir. That's it.
Any other children besides Harley?
No.
Okay. And Mr. Urson, you don't need to tell me specific addresses, but you live in a different state, right? What state do you live in?
Louisiana.
So I'm going to move on to possession and access, which is visits. How old is Harley?
4.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Harley?
In person or via FaceTime?
In person?
Over a year ago.
Okay. When's the last time you saw her virtually, FaceTime?
Probably a week ago.
Okay. Why so long for the in-person visits?
Because her mama doesn't allow me to.
Okay.
I've made numerous attempts. Every time she says yes, she's going to allow me to come get her. And then for whatever reason, she has amnesia after that.
But has Harley ever stayed with you overnight before that breakdown?
Yes.
Okay. Has she come to visit you overnights in Louisiana before the breakdown between you two?
Yes.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, you, Miss McDavid, and Harley all lived together under the same roof as a family at one point, right?
Correct.
Okay. When was the date of separation for the entire family, the finality, when it was done? Month and year?
November, I believe, of 2022.
Okay. What happened to precipitate the breakup?
Her cousin shot me. It was believed that her and her family paid for that to be done. And she just disappeared off the face of the earth while I was fighting for my life.
Okay. All right. What kind of visits do you want, at least on a temporary basis, right now? What would you prefer the court order? Something once a month, overnight, something once a month, not supervised? What's your take?
I believe I should get the court standard, the weekends, the holidays. I would like to see my child more than once a week, because over this time I have been trying desperately hard to see my child, and Orisha has kept her from me. So I believe that I should be allotted the time that has been taken from me if I'm being allotted child support in turn on things that has not been provided. Because this is not based on me. I have been trying numerous times to get my child, spend time with my child, and all that would coincide with supporting my child.
Okay. Now, I thought I just heard you testify. You said, I want the standard every other weekend. So is there not a problem with you traveling to come pick her up, every other weekend?
Not behind my daughter, no.
Okay. So you don't have a problem driving to Louisiana to come
I'll
here?
make a way. I'll make a way.
Gotcha.
And my child isn't in Falls County. She's in Houston, Texas.
So Mr. Urson, in opening, there was some remarks about maybe there's some pending cases. Don't go into details, but you can say, what can you tell us what the charge is and what your version is in terms of disposition? Like, is it done or not?
The charge was a violation of a protective order over a woman I was dealing with. Our relationship was impacted after Orisha sent pictures to her ex-boyfriend.
Sir, here's the deal, sir. Here's the deal. The state, don't go into details. Just tell us what the circumstance. Just tell us what the charges.
I don't understand what you're asking if you don't want details.
I just wanted to know the charge, and you said it. So you said violation protective order. That's good. And then the other part of it was, has it been taken care of, is what I was asking. Yes. Like, the case is gone, it's pending, you have a trial. Which part?
It's taken care of as of today.
Okay. All right. What do you want to tell the court that I haven't asked you about so far, Mr. Urson, in regards to Harley?
Sir, I'm sorry. How was it taken care of? Was it dismissed or was it?
It was refused.
I'm sorry?
Refused.
Okay, that's not an official court term. Did the judge who did the prosecutor drop it, or did the judge drop it?
The prosecutor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You may proceed, and thank you.
Oh, Mr. Urson, I was just asking you, what else do you want to tell the court about in terms of Harley that I haven't asked you about already?
I want to spend time with my child.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Edlightem.
Yes, sir. Now, sir, when you said that the case had been refused, is that both cases, or is that the one that had not been filed with the court and assigned a cause number?
I'm not sure. When we were in court, they said, the DA said they were refusing charges.
Typically, refusing a charge is something that happens before a case is filed. Did they say anything about cause number 24-0016, which had been filed before the 29th Judicial District Court, Division C?
I think that's what they said was a misdemeanor or something like that. I'm not sure what happened with that. I guess I would have to talk to my attorney.
And are you and Ms. Rivera still in a relationship, or do y'all live together? What's the situation?
No, ma'am. None of it.
When you and I had previously spoken, you had indicated you had some concerns with regard to Miss McDavid and her family. What specific concerns do you have for Harley's safety?
I don't feel that my daughter is safe there. Like I told you previously, I was shot by one of her family members. Her sister has pulled a gun out on her. Her parents have threatened her. Her mother has slapped her in the face. I know that my child has gotten spanked by them prior. I know that I had a charge pending against her sister for property damage and destruction. To name a few, those are.
And all those individuals, her family and so forth, they live in Marlin. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. When Mr. Upstalu was questioning you, you had indicated that you do not believe that Harley lives in Marlin. What makes you think that?
Because her daycare is in Houston. Her mother works in Houston. She posts on social media all the things that they're doing on a daily basis in Houston.
Do you have any concerns with regard to Harley's safety in Houston with her mother?
Not in Houston.
Do you live with your mother, or does your mom just live in St. Charles Parish as well?
I live there.
You live with your mom?
Yes.
Okay. So is that the address that's on Janet Drive?
That is correct.
Okay. So if the court ordered that any of your initial periods of possession were to be supervised by your mother, would you be staying in the home with your mother?
That's correct.
Okay. And has your mother indicated whether she would be willing to be there and supervise those periods of visitation?
Absolutely.
Okay. And she would be, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else you believe that the court needs to know with regard to Harley's safety, visitation schedule, any of that sort of thing?
I just want to spend time with my child.
Pass the witness, Sean.
State calls Miss McDavid. Miss McDavid, can you state your name for the record again?
Yes, my name is Arisha McDavid.
Okay, Miss McDavid, do you have insurance policy cards from Mr. Urson for Harley?
I have the one that I showed you previously via text. Yes, I have that one. I don't have a hard copy.
Okay.
He never gave me a hard copy. He actually never provided me with the information until about 30 days ago.
Okay. You have insurance also for Harley?
Yes, because he did not give me the information last year. I went on ahead and got it with my employer.
So Ms. McDavid, so I'm going to ask you direct questions. Just give me the direct answer, and I'm going to let you go into more detail, but just so we could go back and forth. So you have private insurance as well. He's got it. He sent you proof through a text of the policy card. Do you have any idea how much the insurance costs you?
Yes, my insurance for a family plan is roughly hold on. It's taking out my check. Let me see. Give me one moment.
And you don't If you have access to it at a later date, that's fine. I'm just trying to get a rough figure.
Okay, roughly, if I had it just with myself, it would only be about 350. But with me having Harley on there as well, it's roughly a little bit under 700. It's like 369. I mean, I'm sorry, additional. It's like six something. It's a little bit under $700
A month or
a
paycheck?
month. Yeah.
Okay, all
So
right.
per check is like 350 ish. That comes out right around in a month.
You have dental insurance for Harley?
No, I didn't get the dental because he said that he had the dental. So that was one that I did not get.
Okay.
And I asked him for it here this year. We talked
Okay.
briefly about that.
Okay. So you heard Mr. Urson testify to his income. Do you have any personal knowledge of any other income besides what he testified to?
He does have other income because he does catering.
Okay. And
And I
how do
know
you know
that
about
is.
the catering?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How do you know about the catering?
Because we actually did catering together prior to the split as well.
How much did you guys earn?
With that being a few years ago, that we did earn on a monthly basis anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000, just depending on how the business went at that time. I know he's still.
Mr. David, here's the deal, man. You can only testify to that you something that you're an eyewitness now. You have eyewitness knowledge of that he's actually doing, or he's actually told you that he's doing that. Anything else you've heard from third parties or saw online or something like that is not admissible, ma'am. So again, this is eyewitness personal information. Thank you.
All right, no worries. No, well, he has told me that he still does it. He did tell me the business slowed down a little bit for him, but he did tell me that he does still do that.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else that he has told you directly about his income?
No, that was it. So other than the two incomes that he did provide, and then that he does still do catering, but it's limited. No.
Okay. So Mr. Urson testified to a date of separation. He mentioned a month and year. Is that what's your version of the events when you split up finally? What year, what month?
That was in 2021, not 2022.
Of November?
Of November. November is the only part that was correct, but it was 2021.
So November of 2021, you understand that you all separated as a family. So what happened to precipitate that breakup that day?
Mr. Urson actually, there was a domestic violence case where police were also involved, including his therapist, where he pulled out guns on me. And it's all documented with Dallas County, as I've stated to Ms. Nora, as well as the courts before now, in which we had broke up prior to that. And then, of course, he tried to put gasoline around the home, and police were called out. So the day of the shooting that he's saying, we had already broke up. And yes, he was shot. No, I did. That's not the reasoning of him being shot at all. But that did take place. But no, the reasoning of the breakup was because Mr. Urson went into rage and pulled a gun out on me, and I immediately then let his therapist know. Left the home originally. There are police reports on that with Dallas County. And even after the fact, Dallas County was also even called out again because, like I said, me and my child was in a home where he was pouring lighter fluid around that home, demanding that we come out. And Dallas County is 100% aware of this, not with one report, but two reports within 24 hours of that.
Okay. So let's move on to possession and access. You heard what Mr. Urson is requesting in terms of visits. What are you requesting today? Something stair step, something supervised at first? What's your position on the visits?
I do feel that it needs to be start off as supervised visits, as I've expressed before, because of the safety concerns of my child. For the most, I do feel that he should be able to see her. I have not declined him access to his child. And I won't decline him access, my child to see her father. The only thing I recommend is that it is supervised.
Okay, so there's also one other thing that we pled for called non-disclosure. I explained that to you in the breakout room, right? That your contact information may not be revealed in the court order if the court finds that there's a good reason: abuse, harassment, annoyance, family violence issues. Do you want your contact information to be in this court order today?
The information that I've given you, all except my employer. Yeah, sure.
So I'm not going to take any of that. Like, you're going to have it in the order today, and you're fine with all your information being disclosed.
Yeah, my primary residency, Harley schooling. I don't have a problem with that.
Your phone number, your email.
My phone number and email. Yeah, Mr. Urson has that. That's not a problem.
Okay, all right. Anything further you want to tell the court that I haven't asked you about Harley so far, Ms. McDavid?
Yes, I did want to address one matter. Um, for the record, I'm a director and a crisis interventionist, and I do have with the state of Texas that advocate for children that are being taken from child protective services and so forth. And I do have an office in Houston and Dallas. So I did want to just share one thing. Harley has two different schools that she has attended, in which I have given Mr. Urson access to both, as well as the attorney ad litem that you guys did issue for Harley. Ben gave her the information for both schools, in which I only pay myself. Mr. Urson has never helped financially on a dime of that. But I did just want to share one thing with that in concerns of Marlon. Marlon is my primary residency along with Harley's. Harley does go to the Marlon school, and she does go to the Houston school when I do go to the Houston office, because wherever I might go, she goes with me, regardless of what office it is. I do telework a lot, so just want to clear that up. The other family disputes, I'm not even going to touch bases on that, because that's nothing dealing pertaining with my child. So I'm not even going to touch on that.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Oh, I do apologize. I do have one thing I would like to share.
Okay, stop. No, ma'am, I'm sorry. You can only answer questions, ma'am. You're the witness. Okay.
Okay, well, go ahead.
At the end of the hearing, if there's something that you think I need to know that's pertinent, I'll let you say it. But right now, so we're only doing questions. All right, Ms. Farrow, you're a witness.
Ms. McDavid, is there something else that you wanted to put forward?
I did. I wanted to address the reasons for the safety concerns of my child is because for Harley, for Mr. Urson, is because of if I removed her from family violence situations and he go get in that same type of trouble, that same individual that he disclosed that name on is the same individual that allegedly spanked Harley. And when I addressed it with Mr. Urson, I got threats and all that good information. And I do have black and white of this, so it's nothing to hide. Nor have I ever sent any pictures to anybody. I have all documentation that's accessible. If you guys would like it for that later time for court, I am 100% okay to give that to you. But I did want to advise that because of because of the concerns, excuse me.
Urson, do not interrupt.
Because of the hazardous environment he will put her in with the people that he hangs with, the people that he affiliate with, those are the safety concerns for me, for my child.
Stop. I'm sorry. That's way too much. Yeah, that is. I mean, that's just a ramble. I'm sorry, ma'am. Again, this is you don't get to just make a closing statement or closing argument. I'm sorry. Specific questions, specific answers. Let's move on. Thank you.
In light of your concerns and as well as Mr. Urson's concerns, do you believe that it's in Harley's best interest that nobody be permitted to give corporal punishment to this child other than the parents? So no girlfriends, no aunties, nobody other than the parties.
You're asking me this, correct?
Yes, I'm asking you if you believe that that's in your child's best interest.
I do feel that's in the best interest, but I do know that when Mr. Urson goes in rage as a man, he might not understand his strength. So I don't know if punishment.
Here's it, ma'am. Can't speculate. You know, I can speculate.
Okay,
I can speculate he can win the lottery tonight, and everybody gonna get happy. Okay, but still, again, ma'am, sorry. Okay. I don't mean to be facetious, but again, you just testify to what you actually know or seen, and the ad litem will expand on that in just a moment. Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't feel that no one else should actually have to discipline Harley. No. But I do feel that he should not also discipline.
And Mr. I'm sorry, he's raising his hand. Mr. Urson, this is the court of law. Have you ever seen a lawyer show where somebody actually raised their hand during court? No. Take it down.
It was an option, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay, well, here's the deal, sir. You can't interrupt. You got to sit there and you have to take and let the other person testify, just like she took while you testified. So don't do that. Thank you. You may proceed with your question at this time, Ms. Farrow.
Now, I believe that you wanted to offer some clarification with regard to your schedule. And so I wanted to discuss that a little bit. So ma'am, you say that you have an office that you go to in Dallas as needed and Houston as needed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your primary residence is in Marlin. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Your daughter goes to a daycare that's in Houston that you pay for all the time, and then Marlin, it's a drop in as needed, and you pay for the days that she's actually present. Is that correct?
Correct. Absolutely
Okay.
correct.
Okay. And do you you have a secondary residence in Houston, but you said that your primary residence is in Marlin. Is that correct?
Correct.
On average, how many days a week does Harley go to school in Houston versus in Marlin? On average.
On an average, I would say maybe Houston, I would say maybe 2 to 3. It just depends on that week. Because like I said before, I see different clients. So it just depends on how I schedule it. For Marlin, it would be roughly around that 2 to 3 as well. Because I know this week she's at the school in Marlin. And then, of course, she hasn't attended the one in Houston in about roughly 2 weeks now, about a week and a half,
Okay.
roughly 2 weeks.
Okay. So if the school in Marlin is 2 or 3 days a week and the one in Houston is 2 or 3 days a week, on average, I mean, you split your time half between Houston and half between in Marlin. Is that correct?
No, not correct, because sometimes I go to Dallas. So last week we were in the Dallas office. Well, not we, but I went to Dallas because
Okay.
I took her to the Peppa Pig world because since I was up there, so she didn't go to the daycare at all.
Okay. Um, I mean, do you have a residence in Dallas? Does she have a school in Dallas, or she stays with family when you go to the Dallas office?
Correct. The only thing about Dallas is when I go to Dallas, I try to only go to where it's like if I go today, I'm done by tomorrow.
Okay. Um, uh, uh,
Hey, ma'am, is she
is
present?
Harley with you? Oh, sorry.
She is.
Man,
She is. Because I
okay,
telework as
She
well.
was at
So
daycare.
no. I did not say she's currently at daycare right now. I did not say that. This is recorded. I did not say that. But I said this week she would be at the Marlin daycare. But yes, she is currently with me.
All right, ma'am. I usually don't let children in, even at 4, they pick up way too much and they on these things. So, yeah, are you in your office?
No, I'm actually at the table, but she was in another room. She just came in here because she said she wanted to
Okay,
hop.
well, all right. Well,
No, so she hasn't been in here. I'll be honest. I've been talking with everyone.
all right. Go ahead, go ahead and give her the tablet and ask her to go back to her room, please. Thank you.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you.
How many days a week is she not in, on average, in any school whatsoever? Not in Marlin, not in Houston.
Roughly maybe 4 or 5 days a month. That's it, because she might either have an appointment or she might stay at home with me.
Okay.
So on average, maybe 4 or 5 days missed, roughly.
Okay. How much do you pay for the daycare in Houston?
It's roughly $1,200, and I do have her involved in other activities like piano and dance for when she's there. Those are additional that I pay for on top of the school tuition. So whether she's there or not. So like last week she wasn't there at all, but I still had to pay.
Okay. So $1,200 a month for the Kids Are Kids daycare, preschool.
Right.
Plus, how much do you pay for piano at the in Houston?
It's $100
a month.
And dance is 100, and she also does gym, and gym is another right at $89, I believe it is. It comes out of my account automatically on the first.
Okay. So between extracurricular activities and daycare in Houston, you pay $14.89 or so a month for activities in Houston.
Correct.
What concerns do you have from things that you have seen for Harley's safety when she is with Mr. Urson?
His rage. The last time that the last 3 times that Mr. Urson seen Harley, the day before he was coming down to see her, he ended up telling me he was gonna bat the fuck out of me. Excuse my language. And then the time before that, and she heard that. The time before that, he actually threatened me again. And then when I did This is all within a year. And within that year, when he did actually see her, where I let her go back to Louisiana for some days to stay, when I met with him, he also brought one of his little cousins that is about 2 or 3 years older than her, and he was threatening me, and Harley was in the backseat crying. Also was his little cousin in the other car crying because he was threatening me. And I said at that time that that's unsafe. I don't feel comfortable being able to meet him like that. So the safetiness is when he goes into rage and get mad, regardless of who it's with, he will just act out.
I mean, what have you seen him do in these fits of rage?
He hits things, throws things. He definitely would hit something.
Okay,
Whether
ma'am.
it's the door.
Ma'am, when's the last time you saw one of these? Give me some time frame.
A year ago. I seen it a year ago when I met him at a gas station in Louisiana, with the cousin in the car with him, the little girl, as well as with my daughter. Um, he
Okay,
acted out
all
in
right,
rage
okay,
then.
okay. I got that again, ma'am. My question was just when. And
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it was within the year, and then also back in December, in
which
which
year?
also
2023?
in December of 2023. So that was a little sooner than that year we heard earlier. But yes, even in December, he also posed a threat, and that was directly on the phone. And he also did it just the other day, 2 days ago, when he called the
What did he?
police line.
Okay. So what happened 2 days ago?
2 days ago, he actually was calling me about getting his daughter. And when he called me, I did inform him that, hey, we're going to court. We've already talked about this. Anytime he calls or texts or whatever, I respond, just like he'll respond. If not, he'll call back or something later. So that communication there is okay, phone wise, even whether it's phone or FaceTime. I'm sorry. And when he didn't get the answer that he wanted on the I said this and that, and I'm like, no, you're putting words in my mouth. That's not what I said. He ended up steady calling me, as I showed you all already, in the breakout room. All the times that he kept calling me, and I had to decline it because he started threatening me and harassing me. And he actually ended up telling me, like, he wouldn't talk to his daughter. He only wanted to talk to me. And he was telling me what he will do. And his mom even called me to ask me what was going on. And I told her very calmly as well what was going on. And she even mentioned to me that I'm glad he does not know your exact location, because if he did, he would be on his way
Okay,
to
ma'am,
you.
ma'am, ma'am. Stop. First off, don't ever mention something someone else said, okay? Unless it's the other party, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
So, but he did actually. Okay.
Stop. Guys, I gotta go to a doctor's appointment. Yeah. This one, I was thinking it was gonna be a 30-minute hearing. This is gonna be a 2-hour hearing, okay? So, uh, okay, I got no way around that. So, anyway, man, what's your schedule the rest of the day?
I'm open. I mean, if needed be.
Okay, well, it's gonna need to be so, but I'm probably looking at bringing you folks back at about 2:30 to try to get till I can get through this. But obviously, this is gonna take a little longer than I anticipated, and because this one's gotten very very complicated. One quick question, ma'am. The child is now 4 years old. The child will be starting pre-K this next fall.
Not until next fall, Your Honor.
That's what I mean. Coming this coming fall, pre-K, correct?
Pre-K this fall, yes, sir.
All right. So I'll need to. During the next testimony, I'm going to need to know where she's going to end up being, where she's going to be full time in school, because obviously this schedule is probably not going to work going forward as far as pre-K is concerned. But anyway, Mr. Urson, you available at 2:30, 2:45 this afternoon, sir?
No, I'm not.
All right. Where are you going to be, sir?
I'm trying to get back to work.
Here's the deal, guys. I'm pretty sure the AG's let us say, everybody needs to know, but they can be here all day. This is a court of law. We're here all day. So again, my apologies for having to, but I do have this is the only time I can go see my doctor. So that's when that's when it's got to happen. But again, the docket's always from 9:30 to 5 o'clock. So
Yeah, I
again,
was just notified about this last night
okay, well.
for the first time last night.
All right, sir. Okay, well,
I mean, truthfully and honestly, like I'm not opposed to I guess the attorney told me earlier, the 400 or whatever, however low 400 or whatever it was a month. I just want to see my child. Like all this other stuff that she's talking about,
Here
I'm
you go,
really not even
so
concerned.
stop. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to have a chance to hear all this, and get some concise testimony here. All right, so I'm out there basing on when Ms. Farah is going to be available for the ad lab is going to be available when y'all can be available. Ms. Farah, what are we looking at as far as your schedule is concerned going forward, ma'am?
Your Honor, are you talking about the continuation of the temporary orders hearing or for a final hearing, sir?
Continuation of this hearing, temporary hours hearing.
I'm available this afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Urson, you need to call your employer and let them know you're in court. The court's not over with until 5 o'clock today, sir. So that's going to be that. So it's up to you to be here, sir. Sorry. All right, then, everybody. Again, my apologies, but then I'll reconvene at between 2:30 and 2:45, and hopefully I'm gonna be back a little bit before then to get everybody, try to see if I can get everybody else taken care of that doesn't have a fully contested matter like this one. And but I'll reconvene on this one, like I said, at 2:30 this afternoon. Again, my apologies. So for right now, we're off the record, and I'll see you then. Thank you. I said 2:30, so it's still a few minutes. So yeah, that one's a little bit more complicated than I thought. So you know what happened to the person that actually was shot Dad? Did they get charged, or do you know what the outcome of that was?
I think he's in prison.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
No, but yeah, when they told me that, I thought that they were crazy talking, but no, it's for real.
Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't something that they said that was justifiable and he didn't go to jail behind it. So yeah.
No, yeah, it was in the Dallas News.
Okay, good enough.
Is whatever you're about have to do with the case?
Yeah. Because it came up in the testimony. Believe me, yeah. This isn't a polite conversation, believe me. So
yeah, I definitely missed all of that.
All right, we're now back on the record. Shamar Urson and Orishia McDavid, and we were the last person that was given testimony was Ms. McDavid, and obviously we're going to get some more from Mr. Urson at this time. And I'll go ahead, and the original attorney that was doing this is no longer here. I'll allow Ms. Farah to go ahead and take over on this one, Mr. Moon, because she heard most of the testimony. She may and she can go ahead and expand on what Ms. McDavid was testifying to. What I need here, folks, is some expansion of information. I know that Mr. Urson is in Louisiana, but I need to know how far away he is, where I can make some type of plans for how I'm going to set up the visitation. And because we're talking about if he's going to do the visitation with the child and take her all the way back to Louisiana eventually or immediately. I need to know what kind of trip we're looking at and that sort of thing. And again, he says he stays with his mom, so mom could be there for that. But obviously, if it's an 8-hour trip from Louisiana to either Houston or to Falls County, then obviously 16 hours on the road for a 48-hour visit is probably not going to 16 hours one way for one leg of the trip, and then 16 hours going back is probably not going to be conducive to doing that weekend like that. But anyway, let's look. But I need some data on that because again, I've got no idea what his location is. But anyway, I'll go ahead and Ms. Farah, I'll let you go ahead and take it back over on Ms. McDavid, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, Ms. McDavid, do you know where Mr. Urson and his mother reside?
Yes, I do. I was trying to get this thing back on. Yes, I do know where they reside.
Okay. What city do they live in?
What is that? Is that Kenner or St. Rose? Yeah, I believe it's Kenner.
Okay.
I live in St. Rose, Louisiana, and she knows that.
Oh, well, I'm
okay. Whoa. Here's the deal, guys. This is a court of law. All right, sir, do not interrupt her. You will allow you to correct anything that is wrong. She said she wasn't sure, but here's the deal. You do not get to interrupt the other person when they're testifying. Understood? All right? Again, I know you guys are not lawyers, but you're in a court of law. You don't have a lawyer, so you better darn still start acting like one because I'm going to start treating you like one and hitting you with a fine if you don't. All right? So everybody, let's calm down, let's get this done, and don't interrupt the other person when they're testifying unless you have a legal objection to what they're testifying to. And there's no such thing as legal objection that she's incorrect or he's incorrect, okay? So again, you're your own lawyers, but you got to act and you got to behave like one, and you've got to act as one if that's the way you want to handle it. But at this time, Ms. Farrer, you may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Have you been to Mr. Urson's home?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I was last there December 31st. When I took Harley to see Mr. Urson and his mom and family. Yes, that was here just in 2023.
Okay. And how long is the drive from Houston to St. Rose, Louisiana, or Kenner? I mean, they're next to one another, correct?
Yeah, they're right next door. It's about it's a good 7-hour drive. Let me say that. It's roughly about 7, depending on how many stops you make. It could possibly be 8, but it won't be nothing longer than 8.
So from Houston to St. Rose, Louisiana, I believe it's 339 miles. So 5 hours. Isn't that correct?
Roughly about 5.5. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so what length of time do you feel like is appropriate, knowing your daughter, for her to be, there for a visitation with her father? How long a period of time is appropriate for that much of a drive?
I do feel that due to that drive that it can be 3 or 4 days at least. I know that'd be a conflict like when school's actually going in for like truancy compared to like right now. But I don't.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Here's the deal. Once school starts, we're definitely on the school schedule. The
Right.
normal school schedule will be 1 weekend a month if he can make it, but the big holidays are the ones he can get, or the 3-day weekends are the ones that are most apropos. But once we start school, we don't mess with school. All right.
Right. Of course. Okay. I
My
got it.
courtroom is
No,
right next to the truancy judge's courtroom, and yeah,
like
business
we
is
don't play that.
bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
No worries.
Okay.
But no, I do feel that due to that being a long drive, I don't think it should be just 1 or 2 days. I do think it can be, a little extended. Um, you know, um, like Judge Nelson just said, if it needs to be a little longer, that's okay. But the only conflict would be school related, when that time comes because of truancy. But other from that, I don't have a problem with if he wanted to, get her once a month on a Thursday to a Sunday or a Monday or something like that. That's not an issue because that is a lot on a kid to drive 8 hours one way every other weekend, regardless of if it was 5.5 hours from Houston or even the 8-hour mark from Marlin. I'm very understanding of that.
What is the longest period of time that Harley has been with Mr. Urson and his family and away from you?
The longest has been a week.
Is there anything else that I have not asked you about that you feel that the court needs to know?
In pertaining to well, no, I've already actually addressed everything I wanted to address because it was just the safety concerns. The only thing I do have one question on is in the event that like if we did where it's she goes to Louisiana, that 1 weekend out of the month. I'm sorry, well, that once a month, and that's extended, but then Mr. Urson say, well, he wants 2 within that month. How would that go? Because of course, then that would be a lot different, because then now you're putting her on the highway that many times.
Here's the deal, ma'am and sir. Under Texas law, the standard visitation for people who live more than 100 miles away is usually 1 weekend a month, but they can go, you can do 2, 3, whatever, the norm, if that's what if you want to do by agreement. But the norm is, like I said, that, and it's pick up and drop off is at mom's residence, or at the residence where the child lives at the time this order starts. So that's dad's responsibility to pick the child up at your residence and return the child at your residence. Again, that's the normal long distance for people who live more than 100 miles away, and y'all a lot further than 100 miles away. But y'all can agree to something different, but it has to be by agreement. Otherwise, you've got to fall back on the standard possession order for the state of Texas as far as your visitation package is concerned. And of course, the standard visitation order will be attached to the order itself. With any minor tweaking, I don't usually mess with what the legislature says the order should be. So if I do make the specific tweaks to it, it's based on usually special circumstances of the child or one of the parents. So thank you.
Your Honor, I had one other witness, which is Mr. Urson's mother, and I think she's logged on.
It's not doing it.
Yeah, it's on.
There you go.
Oh,
All right.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And you tell him you might want to move away from his phone, otherwise we'll get that echo effect thing.
He left.
All right then. All right then, ma'am, please raise your right hand. All right, ma'am, do you solemnly swear or affirm your testimony you're going to give here today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, ma'am, how are you connected to Shamar Urson? How are y'all related?
Mother.
And testimony earlier was that you reside in the same home together. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how acquainted are you with Orisha McDade?
How am I that she's the mother of Harley?
Do you have any kind of relationship with her? Do you talk? Do you communicate?
Mostly with trying to communicate with Harley via FaceTime, phone call.
Okay. And how would you describe your relationship with your granddaughter?
I think it's great. I mean, except for the fact that I don't actually spend time with her.
Okay. When is the last time that you saw Harley?
In person,
Yes, ma'am.
December.
And did Miss McDavid bring her to Louisiana, or did y'all come to Texas?
She brought her to Louisiana.
Or if the court were to order that the initial periods of visitation that your son has with Harley be supervised and that they be at your home, are you willing to do that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you have any concerns with regard to your son's ability to care for Harley?
None.
Do you have any concerns with regard to Orisha's ability to care for your grandbaby?
No.
Okay. And are you willing to facilitate communication between them if there's conflict?
I don't know about that part because I don't make a practice getting involved in other folks' affairs.
There you go.
Yes, ma'am. All right. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am. All right, ma'am. I'm sorry, I'm good. Ms. Overstreet, you're a witness.
I don't have any questions of this witness, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, ma'am, I did have one question. Does anyone else live in the house besides you and Mr. Urson?
My daughter.
And how old is she, please?
I'm sorry, say again.
Is she an adult or is she still a minor?
She's an adult.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Anything else, Ms. Farrer?
Nothing from this witness, Your Honor.
All right, call your next witness, please.
I believe the court wanted me to call Shamar Urson.
Yes, I did. I need to get some more information from him and see what he can do as far as scheduling for pickup and drop off and things like that. And be sure to make sure that we get some information about pickup and drop off at both points, either the Houston address or the Falls County address. Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Urson, what is your ability to travel to Texas to pick up Harley? Are you able to do that monthly? Is this something that you can do more than once a month?
It's something I can do more than once a month.
With your work schedule and other commitments, how often would you be able to come to Texas to pick up Harley?
Twice a month.
And if the court were to give you that visitation twice a month, would it be your preference to pick up Harley in Marlin or in Houston?
Houston.
Okay. And do you know where Harley stays when she lives in Houston or when she's in Houston?
No.
Okay. Would you be able to pick her up from her daycare because you know where that is in Houston?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Your Honor, that's all the questions I had, unless the court has any additional questions.
All right, sir. We're looking at 5.5, 6, 7, 5.5 hours to get to Houston, and once you're in Houston, maybe 6 more just to get where you need to go. But it is what it is. So based on that trip coming in, sir, and picking the child up and trying to do this that will give you more than the normal 6 p.m. on Friday to 6 p.m. on Sunday for such. You're coming in on, say, a Thursday to pick the child up from daycare and going back and bringing the child back, say, on the following Sunday. Is that problematic, sir?
No, sir.
All right, then. And if she's going to be in daycare at that facility, and we set up to make sure the paperwork's all set up so you can actually pick her up and drop her off as necessary, or pick her up, and what time of day would best work for you, sir? I'm usually looking, I usually make it somewhere around noon going forward, so somewhere between 12 and 5 o'clock. Obviously, I would think you want to get into Houston as early as possible and get out as early as possible with that evening traffic. So would 12 o'clock work, 1 o'clock work, something like that? Because again, if you're gonna get there, it's a 6-hour drive, you're gonna have to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning just to get there by noon. So yeah.
Right. I can make it work. If I'm unable to go, would my mother or my sister be able to go?
Here's the deal, sir. In Texas law, you're allowed to use a designated agent so long as the designated agent is over the age of 18, and both your mom and sister are, and have a valid driver's license. But the mom would have to be able to arrange them to actually pick the child up from the daycare. She'll have to put them on the list, but we can make sure she does that. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right, but the drop off on Sunday is obviously not going to be at daycare. It's going to either be at mom's residence or a third party place. I usually prefer mom's residence because there's no if somebody's running late, then there's no problem with all you got to do is call and let them know you're running late and you're going to be to the residence, and then you don't have to hang around a parking lot or something along those lines waiting for you to show up. So, and I'm gonna go back to Miss Gang in a moment. But is there a problem with dropping the child off at his mom's residence on the Sundays following the visitation, sir?
Can I ask a question in the midst of answering it?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. I know you said earlier in our conversation about I don't think your words were in contempt of court, but something about if you're late or something along those lines.
All right. Okay, sir. Again, I'll give you the lawyer thing. When you're dropping kids off with traffic, you're not going to get in contempt of court. You just need to do it as soon as practical. And of course, everybody's got a device in their pocket that can show that they were stuck in traffic for that amount of time, so forth and so on. So that's not it. It's when the other my speech is about when the person's to pick the child up and they're not there, or there's a problem with the pickup, then the court can hold them in contempt for not being there when they're supposed to under the court order. But since the pickup, it looks like it's probably going to be the daycare center lead. Well, I want to get back to mom on a moment to make sure we can get this to work. Then that won't be a problem. But again, pickup and drop off is usually at the residence. And I lived in Houston for 3.5 years myself. And back in when traffic was just a little horrible, now it's absolutely horrible. So obviously, you'll get there when you get there, and there's not a problem with that. You just need to let the other person know that those are the circumstances. And I'm going to have y'all communicating through a parenting app going forward anyway, just to be able to confirm everything. So, next question, sir.
That was it.
All right. Then based on that answer, sir, what can you make this happen?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Connor, would it be possible for the pickup and drop off to be at the daycare where he drops the child off on like the Monday or on Tuesday at the daycare? That way he gets a little bit more time, and also there's no conflict between the parties.
Contact. All right, ma'am, sir. I'm looking at Thursday till Monday. That's a 4-day. That's a 4-day weekend, and drop off being at the daycare center also. Would that be? I'll go to you in a moment, ma'am. But sir, would that work for you?
Monday at what time?
Like I said, I'll make the pickup at 12 noon. I'll make the drop off at 12 noon. I'm not sure what the daycare allows, but I'll get that information. I'm sorry, Miss McDavid. Center.
I think you froze up.
McDavid?
Judge, you're kind of freezing and we can't really
Oh,
understand.
me? Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Ms. McDavid, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, then. All right, ma'am, I'm looking at, like I said, maybe, like I say, Thursday pick up at 12 noon, Thursday, Monday drop off at 12 noon at the facility. Does the facility have a problem with pick up and drop off during those time frames, ma'am?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have a problem with that if it's 2 times a month.
Well, here's the deal, ma'am. Under Texas law, he's entitled to 2 times a month. Okay.
It's Friday through Sunday, correct? Friday through Sunday.
Okay.
Correct.
Here's the deal, ma'am. I get to make the rules. Okay.
Correct.
All right. And
you do, but daycare, no. Because, and like I said before, it's not permanent every time that she'll be at that daycare. So, I mean, if that's where you guys want the drop off and pick up to be, that's not the every time thing. I mean, I would rather just say, hey, I'd rather meet you at like a police station for that. That way there's nothing misconstrued. But drop off time is actually the latest is at 10 a.m. Now, if he has to get back to work or something of that nature on that Monday morning, he can drop her off a little earlier. But if that is going to be a conflict, I mean, of course, that's what we're here to talk about.
Okay, well, ma'am, that's what I was trying to get with you on this one because it's Houston, and you could be sitting in a police parking lot for 2 hours.
But what if it's Marlin? Because that's what we were discussing previously, in case that has been forgotten. What if it's Marlin? Then that means I would have to leave Marlin to take her to Houston. That's ridiculous. And that's something I won't do. Because then that's saying when it's his turn, I have to meet him there.
Ms. McDavid, calm down. First off, don't tell me what you will not do. All right? Okay. Not a good idea. All right? Because again, you're the one moving around here. Most people have one residence, one spot. You're the one got different spots. This is not on him. This is on you. Okay.
Right. And I'm not knocking that. I am not knocking it. I'm just saying, as we stated previously, Houston is, because I have an office in Dallas too. That's why I was saying earlier that I didn't want to, like, in other words, I don't mind saying, okay, well, let me know where you're going to be or whatever the case may be. But if you're making Houston the pickup location, I wouldn't recommend that because that's not an everyday thing. So if he came this Friday, then that means I have to drive her to Houston for him to pick her up. So,
okay, here's the deal, ma'am.
Does that make sense? So that's why I'm saying,
drop off. I'm gonna make it one spot. All right. I'm gonna either use Houston or I'm gonna use Marlin. Okay. So no matter what the circumstances, like I said, and the weekends he normally gets for long distance. The non-custodial gets the first, third, and fifth normally, but long distance is usually the first and third weekends of the month, and that's usually the first Friday. But again, we'll tweak that based on the schedule. I'm looking at him having Thursday through Monday. And what's the child in a daycare facility in Marlin also, or just at someone's residence in Marlin?
No, it'll be daycare as well when we're in Marlin. When we're in Marlin, like she has 2 different daycares, but then of course, like I'm pretty flexible because I'm a director, so I'm pretty flexible with work. So that I honestly, I don't recommend no daycare to be picked up, but I'm not saying you can't go or visit because he has access to him. I've given him the addresses. He's been to both daycares, so I'm not knocking that. But the daycare in Marlin for drop off is at 8:30. And the daycare in Houston is for 10 a.m. is the cutoff time when a kid can come. So, I don't recommend the daycare.
Okay, well, if I use Marlin, I will use the courthouse in Marlin, or the Marlin PD, or the sheriff's department in Marlin for pickup and drop off. Because Marlin, I'm not going to worry about traffic in Marlin. If there's a traffic jam, big deal, 10 minutes. All right.
Right. So, no, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay, but here's the deal, ma'am. I'm looking. It can't be switching around. All right.
No.
One spot. So if it's going to be the first and third weekends, and the pickup and drop off is at the sheriff's department right there on the. I don't think the sheriff's department's moved from the corner.
No, it's on the highway. But yeah, no, you're okay.
All right then.
That works.
All right then. All right, folks. Obviously, we're looking at having coming all the way to Marlin. Now, if you got to come all the way to Marlin, are you still looking at 2 times a month or once a month, Mr. Urshan?
Yeah, I would like to ask a question. If Harley's in permanent daycare in Houston and temporary daycare in Marlin, why are we considering Marlin? Because she would be permanently at a daycare in Houston.
Well, sir, obviously it's not a permanent daycare. She has.
She said that earlier in her testimony.
Here's the deal, sir. She used the wrong nomenclature for it. All right. It's not obviously she's always said there's 2 daycares. Okay.
Yeah, she did say it was 2 daycares, but she says she's paying the other daycare in Marlin for when she goes there.
That,
Earlier in the record, that's what she said. When she was talking
Correct.
to Miss
All right.
Nora, when she was talking
All
to
right,
Miss
man.
Nora.
Where are you registered to vote?
Marlin, Texas, where that is my primary
Okay.
residency, and I'm
That's
involved
the
in
legal
many
residence there.
organizations.
There we go. Okay.
Marlin, Texas. Now, I will say this.
Okay.
I will say
Ma'am,
this.
okay.
Much
Okay.
games.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Yep,
Then.
I want twice. Yes, sir. Twice a
Okay.
month.
All right. So we're looking at obviously now we're looking at Marlin, and we're looking at this change being at the sheriff's department. And again, it sounds like they got a new location from back in the good old days.
Can I ask a question now?
Yes, sir. What's your next question?
Okay, my question is this. Am I obligated in the event that she's in Houston? Do I have to meet her in Houston? Because I don't want to do the flip-flopping thing like you're saying, but I know she may call and say, oh, well, we're going to be in Houston.
Then she's going to technically, sir, under this order, she would have to drive to Marlin to make the exchange.
Okay.
Y'all can agree.
I don't want to agree
like
with
y'all agree very much. Y'all can agree to something different. Both parents try to work these things out.
I don't want to agree with her on anything.
The order has to be specific so it can be enforceable. Otherwise, it's not. So
absolutely.
I have one question, if I might.
All right, what's your question, ma'am? I'm still trying to bring up my calendar. Sorry.
Go ahead, take your time. This is actually something because I know that previously when we were with the other OAG guy that now has the affiliate, I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names, and with Nora as well as with you, we were saying about the supervision part, and so as Mr. Urson had asked earlier, like if he had to come, and there's the supervision in place, would they have to still come with him? That hasn't changed, correct? Because I know earlier we were discussing that, and
supervision is not usually for the car drive. Okay, supervision is for the actual location of visitation going to take place. The car is not a place of visitation, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. Well, I just wanted clarification on that.
He didn't have to bring somebody with him on that trip, but based on both of y'all, I would say both of y'all need to have somebody there with you as a possible witness. And I prefer non-family members, but it is what it is. All right, so we're here on the 21st. So that means...
I'm sorry, question. So when we come back, so we're finalizing, I mean, we're not finalizing now. We're just setting something in stone temporarily. And then when we come back on the 21st of May is when we'll finalize it. So my question is, how long when we come back, like how long is the supervision? Because I had that question earlier. I had asked Nora.
Okay, well, right now I haven't made up my mind how long that would be, but the supervision in this case appears only to be just to cover everything. Cover yourself on this one, because again, normally I do supervised visits when the child and the parent don't know each other. Obviously, that's not the case here. So what I'm looking at is I will probably just try to do the supervision through when we come through up to final hearing. And then at the final hearing, we get further testimony. Dad's still living with his mom. Obviously, that's where he's going to take the child anyway for the visitation, but it's not going to be officially supervised, but he's going to get a little free reign after that if everything goes smoothly with all the other visits. And since this is this is the 4th weekend coming up, his first visitation package would not be till that first weekend of April, which is the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So that's and then the next one after that would be the 18th, 19th, Thursday's the 18th, and then of course return on Sunday or Monday, the 21st or 22nd. So those are the I'm sorry, the 5th. I'm sorry, it's the 5th and 6th. I'm sorry. The next one is the 9th. I'm sorry, it's the 18th, 19th, 2020. Yeah, so that's it. The 3rd weekend. I got it right. So that's what we'd be looking at. And the next month in May would be the same thing. 1st weekend in May, 3rd weekend in May.
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch. I'm writing it down. You said April the what? What
Just
was the
look at the
two?
calendar. The first Friday, the first weekend of May. The
Okay.
first weekend
No,
of
April. Let's one
Okay,
thing at a
April's
time.
the
April.
first, the Thursday's the 4th, and Friday's the 5th. Sunday,
Okay, so the 5th and 6th, and then that third weekend is, you said, let me look at the calendar.
Is the 19th. Well, the 18th is Thursday, the 19th is Friday, and he's looking at we're looking at pick up and drop off on Thursday, and pick up on Thursday and drop off either on Sunday or Monday. And based on the fact they got to go all the way to Marlin now, I'm trying. I need to get some more testimony to see what the drop off date's going to be, either that following Sunday or that following Monday. So I'm looking at going ahead and doing it on the final hearing on on the 21st of May on the regular docket. Would it work better, Ms. Farrer, if we just said, I'll set this up as a special for that afternoon, or just put it with the general docket in the morning for you?
Either is fine with me, Your Honor. If it's in the afternoon, I mean, I do foresee that it's going to take some time, and so I leave it to the discretion of the court.
Okay. So at this time, I'll go ahead and get some feedback from Mr. Urson. All right, Mr. Urson, I'm looking at Thursdays. You got to come into Marlin. You're going to be there. Like I said, I could. And ma'am, pick up and drop off. We would make it at the sheriff's department. So we're looking at. So obviously, Mr. Urson's going to get up early and drive back. So we're looking at sometime between noon and 1 o'clock. That's so that way, because it's an 8-hour drive, and I want everybody back home before it gets dark. And they're going to be going through Houston in traffic, so that's going to be problematic. But still, if that's the way they go.
If you come through Marlin, you don't go through Houston. You take other words. But here's my only thing with that, and that means if he come on Thursday to pick her up, you're saying that on Thursday, okay. I'm okay with Thursday, okay? But then what I'm hearing is I have to alter Thursday and Monday compared to Thursday through Sunday.
That's what I'm trying. Again, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to use I'm using Thursday as a pickup, and I haven't made up my mind if I want to use Sunday or Monday as the drop off. And I'm going to get some information from Mr. Thursday to make sure what his schedule is looking like, because obviously that's going to start interfering with his job. All right. Or somebody else has got to do it for him. So he's got to get people to make an 8-hour drive and drive 8 hours with a 4-year-old, which is always fun. Okay, I remember it. So, so Mr. Urson, I'm looking at that's a 4-day period that you'll have your daughter, and I am and going through Houston on or wherever to travel on Sunday is a little bit easier than travel on Monday, I'm guessing. So. So I'm looking at Thursday from noon, pick up on Thursday at noon, and drop off at 6. Let's because of the distance, I'm going to make the drop off at noon also the following Sunday. Can you make that work, sir?
Like the time seems like it's getting shorter with her.
Mr. Erskine, comment. I was just asking, could you make that work, sir? Because normally, sir, the visitation is Friday to Sunday. Okay, we're throwing in Thursday to possible Sunday. Can you make that work, sir?
Yeah.
Your Honor, I looked it up and it looks like it's at 2847 Highway 6 in Marlin. 2847 Highway 6, Marlin, Texas is the Falls County Sheriff's Office.
Right.
And Your Honor, I don't think that is feasible. The 12 o'clock on Sunday, that's me getting up at midnight, basically.
Not quite. But if you want to drop her off at 6 o'clock on Sunday, that's fine with me, but you won't get home.
That'd be perfect. I'll do 6 o'clock.
Okay, but you don't get home till midnight. You will not
That's
get home.
fine.
Okay. All right, so we're looking at the first and third weekends of the month, and we're looking at starting at 12 noon on Thursday and going to Sunday at 6. I'm looking at, I know we had prior testimony about employment and child support. Did we ever get a specific child support amount based on Mr. Urson's 2 jobs?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Strat had given me the information, and we both calculated and came up with $345 a month with the dad to cover the health insurance, and then to reserve the issue of the retro and court cost, and then have dad and mom both provide information regarding the cost of the health and the dental at the final.
All right. Here's what we're going to do, folks. Instead of bringing y'all in on that final hearing in May at 9:30, I'm going to have y'all come in at 1:30 in the afternoon. By then, we should be able to get rid of, hopefully, most of the other docket. And I'm going to give y'all 1:30 in the afternoon to 4 o'clock in the afternoon to finalize this on that date. So y'all don't have to check in, but until 1:30. And that way you don't have to hang around while we take care of everything else, because obviously this is going to be the longest hearing I have. Well, hopefully it's going to be the longest hearing I have that day. And that's what I'm looking at as far as doing on that one. And like I said, for now, and I'm looking at, what was the cash? Dad's going to provide the health insurance, or Dad's going to pay cash medical?
No, it was my understanding that that was prorating his cost for the child. So he would be providing it for right now.
All right, because I understand Mom said she had the health insurance. So I may have missed that. Mr. Erson, you have health insurance for the child?
That's correct.
All right, then you have, okay, this is the one where your mom has a copy of the card, or one of the cards?
I don't know anything about that.
All right, have you given her anything showing what the health insurance is, sir?
My mother?
No, Miss McDavid.
Yes, she has.
Okay, and that doesn't include dental at this time, or does it?
No, I think it doesn't include vision.
Okay, but it does do a dental, correct?
To my recollection.
All right then. All right,
no, that's not dental. He gave me that, but I don't have a hard copy.
You're interrupting. He was talking to me.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I'm getting ready to make y'all come in live to the courthouse. You know that, don't you?
And that's okay with me. But I just want to know if I can get a hard copy of that, and if so, how soon can I get that? But I want to share that it does not add the dental, because I did check. That's only for the medical.
All right, then. Well,
so when can I get
ma'am, he's right. So at this time, sir, make sure give her a solid card instead of if you send.
I don't have a solid card. It's a paper printout that I sent her a picture of.
All right. Okay? So you got a PDF printout.
Exactly, and she got a picture of that.
All right, sir. Here's the deal. When we come back at the final, make sure you found out what dental's going to run you during that time frame, because under Texas law, you got to provide both health and dental. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. She's 4, so I don't think there's going to be a major dental thing at this point, but you never know.
Your Honor, I have a couple of questions about the actual order. Yes, I don't know if it's already determined, or are they managing and possessory conservators?
Right now, Mr. Urson says you're going to provide that information that shows everything has been dropped or done away with as far as what you were looking at today, sir.
Correct.
All right, so make sure you have a copy of something from the and was that in Texas, or was that in Louisiana?
Louisiana.
All right, so provide the ad litem a copy of the paperwork that shows that that's all been dismissed. So right now, sir, based on what I was hearing, right now I have to name mom sole managing and give you possessory, but give you all the rights in the possessory. But the final hearing, if that's been able to be verified, then I will look at naming you both joint managed conservators. I want y'all to start using a parenting app. It's called AppClose, APPCLOSE. Okay. It's called AppClose, APPCLOSE. It's the #1 parenting app in the world, or in this country anyway. And it has all the functions in it, texting, FaceTime. It even has money transfers, but we're not going to do that unless y'all agree to send something like that. But the child support has to be paid to the state disbursement unit, sir. It starts the first day of April. So, and now information of where and how that should be paid will be in your court order. Again, I'm looking at visitation, like I say, on those first and third weekends of the month. And I'm specifically, and I'll go back to my calendar. Let me bring it back up. So everybody understands it's that the first Thursday of the month in April is Thursday the 4th. The next Thursday is the 18th. Drop off is Sunday the 7th for that first weekend at 6 p.m. at the Falls County Sheriff's Department, and the third weekend of the month, the 18th, the drop off is at on the 21st at 6 p.m. And then the following month, all right, the pickup is on May the 2nd, which is a Thursday. Drop off is on Sunday, May the 5th. And then the next visitation pickup is on Thursday, May the 16th, and drop off is the 19th. And your final hearing is set for 1:30 on the 21st, and we can get an update on how all that is going one way or the other, as far as that those circumstances are concerned. And we'll get an update on whether or not anybody's schedules change. Sir, you said you're getting ready to become, getting ready to become a full-time student. You're getting ready to become a student. What we're looking at there?
I'm getting into veterinarian school, and I've applied to Texas A&M and LSU. So they won't know for certain on acceptance until May or June. So my living arrangement can change.
All right. Well, hopefully you'll know before May 21st. So if you don't, then I got to base it on what I can only take a snapshot in town. I can only deal with what's right before the court at that point. So if you're at A&M, you're going to be a lot closer to your daughter than you are now. So, but you're going to be in the equivalent of a medical school. So your schedule is going to get really, really tight there, sir. So, but if it happens. So, so I'm looking at that. I'm looking at going ahead, like I said, and ordering the child support. As earlier stated, I'm looking at ordering dad to check into the health insurance. I'm looking at changing this around when we come back. If dad can show that everything's been dismissed as far as the family violence or the charges he had pending out there. And like I said, we set this at 1:30 p.m. on the 21st day of May. So I'm going to start with the state and then go to the ad litem, and then I'm going to go to each parties for anything else they think I need to clarify. In fact, let me go with the parties first. That way the lawyers can pivot if they need to. So, Ms. McDavid, anything else?
Of course. I want to know, so if it starts on April 1 is our active date.
The date child support is due, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How I'm new to this. How do you even get that? Like, is it like a mail check, or how does that work?
Okay, ma'am, you'll have the order the order will have the information of where he has to send it, but you have to log on to the state disbursement unit, do a web page, and set up your accounts.
Okay.
And ma'am, believe it or not, I don't know how that works because I never got child support. Okay, but I know you have to set your account up. Just like when you use App Close, you both are going to have to download it, iTunes or Google Play, whatever your preference is, and you'll have to set up accounts under your names to get it done. And I usually tell mom to do the initial download and set the initial account, and then to forward that information to dad to make sure to show what the account name is and all that, and for him to set up his account on that also. Right?
Okay. Right. And so next question, and this will be it. That is, you said that supervision will only be at the at his address,
yes,
right? Okay, so is it like a time, like let's say he come pick Harley up at 12 o'clock, right? But then he decides to detour and stay in Texas for an extra day or extra 5 or 10 hours, right?
All right. Okay. Stop. I'm gonna have to say put in the court order that he is to take the child immediately and straight to his residence.
Okay, I was just asking because it's like, okay, well, what point, that's the only thing that's my last question I had.
All right, then. Well, like I said, we'll make it part of the order that he's not allowed to go out to stop and watch and catch a basketball game in Houston. Okay, he's got to take the child directly to his home. Thank you.
Now, how will we be able to track that?
We don't, ma'am.
Sure.
But you. Okay, man. We don't track people. In fact,
so we don't track that, but we don't. But how do we know it's supervised? Does mom report that? Oh, well, they came at this time. I'm sorry, but I'm a director myself, and I work for kids and advocate for kids that are in care. And so, when you're actually saying, okay, something is supervised or tracked, is how do you track that?
Okay, ma'am, you don't track that, but I'll order to send you through App Close a verification that he has arrived where he's supposed to and serve. Go ahead and just snap a picture and send mom that picture along with that thing, and that way she can geotag it and CC the ad litem, and that way I send a copy to Ms. Farrer, and that way she can know that you're doing what you're supposed to, and that should take care of that. All right.
Okay.
April 4th at 12, you said I could pick her up?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all I got.
All right. Drop off is at 6 the following Sunday. Same spot. All right. Okay, here's the other thing. Get the app set up and confirm at least 24 hours in advance that you're going to be there when you on that date, sir. Okay.
So I have to notify her April 3rd.
Right. At least by April 3rd. You can do it earlier, but you need to verify, you need to confirm that you are going to come. There hadn't been a problem with the car, there hadn't been a problem with the work, and you will be there on that date. I do this in all my cases. And if you don't let her know before that date, then she doesn't have an obligation to be there at 12 noon, okay? Because she's got to pack up with the child and get everything and be there. So make sure you do that. And I say it's somewhere between 48 and 24 hours in advance, sir, okay?
Okay. And can it be more than that?
Now let's make it 48 because things happen in 40. If something happens in the last 24 hours, that's crazy. But you know, things happen in the last 48 hours all the time. So yeah.
And how long do I have to give her this notice for?
Every time, sir.
Even once we're not under this supervision thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I'm going to come get my child every time that I'm supposed to. And
Okay.
like, I really want my communication as little as possible with her.
Okay.
So can I communicate with her through this app thing that you're telling us about?
I want all communication between the two of you through this app thing. Now, I don't want you doing Facebook. I don't want you using text. I want this. That way, if Ms. Farrah needs to get a copy of everything that was done in the app or all communications that were done in the app, she can get me a copy and get it into a proper form that can be introduced as evidence in a court of law.
And a simple text as much as 12 o'clock works, correct?
Oh, as long as it's on app close.
And if I say 12 o'clock, that's enough said, right?
Sir.
I'm hoping you understand, and I don't want to talk to her under no circumstances. So if I just say
Here's
12
the deal,
o'clock.
man. Here's the deal, sir. Having not talking to the mother, you had a lady, you had a child, but it's going to be kind of hard. Your message,
I didn't know.
Here's the deal, sir. Your message, I will be there at 12 noon on, let's say, on 12 noon, May the 2nd, and I'll be on time. And you need
12 noon, May the 2nd. Got it.
Okay, just spell it out. Don't say 12 noon, okay? I'll be at the sheriff's department at 12 noon on whatever date you're supposed to be there. Okay. All right. Next question, sir.
Yeah, I just didn't want anything where it can be said that I didn't say it, that I did and didn't say anything.
Okay. And again, make sure. And I want both of y'all to confirm with Ms. Farrah that y'all have AppClose set up and ready to go before that first visit. If there's a problem, she can get in contact with me and let me know what the problems are. Okay.
I have a question as far as supervision.
Yes, ma'am.
My understanding is that I travel with Shamar to pick up Harley.
Okay, ma'am, that's left up to you. I'm not gonna push you on an 8-hour trip unless you can do it if you want to, ma'am. Especially the first one if you want to, or you can do it one way. But I'm not making you supervise in a car for 16 hours. Okay, that's just yeah.
So my understanding now is that while she's here.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wouldn't go. Yeah, the older I've gotten, the less I like traveling in a car, and I sure as heck don't like to be in a car for 8 hours. So yeah, I don't care how many Starbucks are on the highway. That's where I'm going. All right.
Gotcha.
All right. Any other questions?
That's it.
All right, folks. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to carve out a specific block on the 21st at 1:30 p.m. Everybody, it's going to be the Zoom code for the docket, but I'm going to go ahead and add that to the heading of the Zoom code, that special setting at 1:30 in the afternoon. All right.